Welcome to the Planet Paintball Podcast, the ultimate podcast for paintball enthusiasts. Each week, we dive into the world of paintball, bringing you stories, insights, and tips from players, coaches, and industry insiders. Sponsored by 1023 Sportswear. Looking for high-quality gear that performs as hard as you do? Check out 1023 Sportswear. And as a listener of the Planet Paintball Podcast, you can get 20% off your order with the code Planet Paintball. Suit up, save big, and play your best.
And welcome back to the Planet Paintball. Tonight I have Aaron Rios, who's playing with BR Factory in Semi-Pro this year. How you doing, Aaron?
Pretty good, man. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. This will come out weeks later, so no one will know the actual date. Spent all day hiding it at work.
There you go. But
yeah, I was excited when Josh mentioned you and that you might want to do it. So I'm glad we could link up and get it done, especially before, I guess you're coming up on your first event of the season,
yep,
right? Technically,
ICPL.
kind of. So
yeah, that was the first one. So again, it's hard.
So is it technically the first event of the season or the last event of the season before? Because I heard they were like flip-flopping on it.
Yeah, you're right. It's like the season finale of last year. So it's like the champion event. I think it's the last ICPL main event as well. So that'd be kind of cool to be a part of. And then the rest of these would be, what do they call them? They're like the field will host them, but they'll be affiliate events.
So we'll still get the
so be
Pro DNA Open and stuff like that, probably, or something.
Yeah, the big ones will stick around. I think I'm sure someone will do a Pittsburgh event. Pro DNA Open's a big one. Chicago is always a popular 10-man if they can fix or figure out something out there. Yeah,
legendary field up there for 10-man.
I love it.
Well, how'd you find paintball, this crazy sport we all play?
I'm pretty cliche story. Did the birthday party route, right? So I was probably, think 12, I think, when everyone starts, and did a birthday party. A good friend of mine grew up with my whole life. He took me out. He had an autococker. He had this nice blue WGP 04, and I used the tip-in, rented the gun. They were just terrified, hid the whole time, and when I finally got the courage, I just watched him doing everything the way you're supposed to, and I wanted to be able to play. I wanted to participate. So I finally got the courage, and you finally shoot somebody. Then I think it's just like the addiction starts. So then it's just buying guns and buying gear and all the stuff. So I got an eye on, got started, loved it, souped it up, did all this virtue board and the bolts and the barrels and all the stuff. Then got into an 07 Ego.
Okay.
That was my first high-end gun in 07, I guess. That's when that one came out. So that was my first high-end. And about that time is when the refs at Paintball Atlanta had formed a team. That's where I played out of most of Paintball Atlanta. They formed a team. One of the guys came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to play tournament paintball?" I was like, there's tournaments? Like, that was cool. And I didn't even know about it. So I just slowly grew into it. And this past weekend, I got to go out to Wildfire Paintball, and that was actually probably been down there once or twice since then, but that was a location I played my first tournament. So I was talking to the owner about it, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I think like 16 years ago, I played my first ever tournament here, and that was pretty cool to go back and see that again.
That's pretty gnarly. Yeah, I definitely heard of Wildfire, like just being in the Southeast.
Yeah, they did MESPAs and GFOAs was the GFOA that I played in. That was the big one.
So you got into the tournament scene pretty quick then.
Yeah, I feel like I probably played for maybe a year or maybe a year or two of rec ball before I was introduced to the tournament stuff. And from there on out, it was just playing with those guys. I started reffing at the field too and became best friends with all the guys there. So we all had a little team we formed, Atlanta Assault, and practice whatever we could. We'd ref during the summertime, you could ref on Wednesdays. They were open. So we'd ref on Wednesday, on Saturday. We'd earn half a case of paint each day. And then on Sunday, we'd play with our case of paint that we'd earned. So that was our, just had a fun the team kind of thing as a kid. Yeah, it was a cool little start.
So how long did you stay kind of with that field and that team?
Probably a couple of years. We did the GFOA thing until GFOA was done. A couple of years they did that. And then myself, Matt Hull, who I currently play with, he was on that team. And one other person, Elliot. The three of us then kind of were core, I guess you would say, wanted to continue elevating our game. I went on PB Nation and started actually searched best team in Georgia. We've heard of Adrenaline Army. At the time, they were ranked D2. They were the highest ranked team in Georgia. So we found out where they were down in Macon, 2 hours away. Elliot was the first one to go out there. He just drove down there by himself on the weekend to a tryout. I, for some reason, couldn't make it. He made the team, called us out there. We made the team. And then that became what I'd really say would probably be like my first paintball family. That team I was with, that was the first time I went and played national events, traveled, did the whole thing. And we were together for probably about 5 years, 5 or 6 years, felt like. So that was like a lot of chemistry and bonding formed for sure.
That's a long time to be with.
You learn a lot, especially a long time to never win. That was our big thing. And so we had a lot of talent. We had Travis Newsom. He's played pro a good bit. I'll be playing with him this weekend in the ICPL. He was on that team with me back then. Matt Hull, like I said, playing semi-pro with me now. Tons of talent on the team. A bunch of other guys. Yeah, we just never really learned how to play together. I feel like I never learned how to play as a team on that team, unfortunately. If we had, that would have been a really, really good team. But yeah, I think it just kind of continued on. You moved on to the next one. And after that, it was kind of, it was actually back to Paintball Atlanta, I think. At that point, Lane Wright had bought Paintball Atlanta. He sold the PSP or got out of the PSP thing and came and bought Paintball Atlanta and brought back Team Extreme, which was the team I grew up watching. Team Extreme and the Philly Americans, those two teams kind of went hand in hand in my eyes because I saw a lot of the guys go through those programs and go pro that route.
Yeah.
So that was my goal, my dream. And got to play D3 with Team Extreme. Played one tournament, 6L, I think it was, in Nashville. And we won that. It was our first tournament ever. We won D3.
Nice.
Unfortunately, that team fell apart. So
even after the win, huh?
Yeah, it was a lot of, I think it was like kind of management and a lot of drama in the back end, just keeping the guys together and keeping the organization going the way like leadership wanted. Some of the players had a lot of personal opinions because they had played on other teams, and it was hard getting everyone together, I think, with that one. But we had the tools. Lane did a lot of great things for us and hooked us up with all of his great connections. We had a great sponsorship thing going. But it was good. It was good to learn from and good to move on from. And for me, it was a great thing to check off the bucket list.
It's kind of cool when you get to, it's cool when you get to check those items off. Right?
Yeah, full circle.
So you're playing NXL with BR Factory, and then can you announce who you're playing the ICPL things with?
Yeah. ICPL, I'll be playing with the All-Americans this year. That's, essentially, I mean, this weekend I'll officially get a jersey with my name on it. And that is one of the very last few checklist items on my list. So I kind of like I said, with Team Extreme, get to play the Philly Americans, the All-Americans, grew up watching those guys. Looking forward to that a lot. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's other historic franchise that kind of got brought back by the classic format.
Yeah, which I'm very blessed. I'm a huge advocate for doing this 10-man thing. I mean, you have to go and try it. You have to promote it. Me and my buddies, we started doing it when it first started. And the way we looked at it was pick your favorite pro player, like a Ryan Greenspan or Oliver Lang. And if you look at how they learned and developed through this game, it was in the woods, 10 minutes or 20-minute games, whatever they were, longer games with 10 guys. And that evolved into what it is now, speedball. And their minds evolved with it, essentially. So for players to just start at X-Ball, there's plenty of talent out there that guys could do it. It's been proven. But you're going to hit that wall eventually. You're going to hit that dynasty wall or that, those big teams where they're just something else that they're thinking about that you haven't figured out yet. And I think playing 10-man really helps develop your game. It really helps you manage a clock, manage the guy, the score, the situation, what needs to happen. And then when you go to X-Ball, it's almost simplified. There's only 5 guys. There's a big scoreboard right there. The guns are automatic almost. Everyone's right there. You can see everybody. So yeah, if you've never tried 10-man, you have to go and play well.
Yeah. They're a blast. Have you gotten to play I think I've seen you up at the CFOA 10-man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, done that one a couple times. Yep, we did the Saber Wolves.
Okay.
My original 10-man team that I kind of came up with.
So how did you link in with those guys? Because they're other like historic friend group, if you will.
Yeah. Great opportunity. Gant McClellan, I give him tons of props for my career, I guess, and get me in the right doors. He was part of the Team Extreme program. He was one of the guys that got through Team Extreme to the Philly guys, and a good friend of mine kind of helped me follow in his footsteps, I guess you could say. We did the Team Extreme thing. He was playing with the Saberwolves. He got invited to play with them when this all came back around. And he said to me and one other guy, he said, if you guys want to get into this, just, it'll pay off one day. Like, trust me. And I had no idea who the Saberwolves were. I'd never heard of the name of the team. I didn't know the history. I didn't, we went, and there was a tournament at Paintball Land, so it was at our home field. So we were like, this is the first time we had to play a tournament on our home turf. We've grown up with this field for 15 years at the time. And we're like, this is a huge opportunity. We have to do it. And it was great. It went well. Stuck around with the team, and the rest was history. It was the best. I think it's been almost 8 years with that team. They were all my groomsmen at my wedding. The entire team, every wife was at my wedding. Yeah, I mean, that's a family. I definitely call those guys family more than anything.
Well, definitely blessed to get in there and have Brant, right? We call him
Gant. Yeah.
Gant. Yeah, Gant.
He gets Grant all the time. We call him Grant too. He gets that one all the time.
So you started doing those. You guys kind of ran a racket there for a while with them. Put up some podiums.
I definitely can credit. I feel like I learned how to win, and I think there is an art to winning. There's a mentality to kind of keeping composure throughout the tournament. The little things that add up. I was definitely the hothead coming into it, and those guys will definitely tell you. We had a term. I refer to myself in this when I say this, but the guys would say, you went full retard in that moment. If I was just trying to gun battle, or if I was just trying to go crazy, or I would get shot stupid. They're like, you're doing your own thing. You're going full dummy, and as we progress and I would do something better, they'd be like, that was better. That wasn't full dummy that time. That was better. Those guys really kind of helped me develop my game for sure. And then on top of that, the caliber of players you get to play against. There's definitely some teams out there having fun, but there's definitely some teams out there that are really competitive. You got all of Infamous. Dynasty guys will play. The Diesel guys are all out there. Tons more. Infamous guys, I know those guys are scattered around, but getting to be around those guys, playing with them, playing against them.
Yeah, and it's the opportunity to play against those guys, which you don't get anymore since divisions only stay inside the divisions these days.
Exactly. If you're gonna play X-ball, you gotta earn it. But 10-man kind of jump into it a little bit.
Yeah. So take us through the speedball side a little bit more. You were last we left. It was Team Extreme. Was that the last one, or?
Yeah. After that, I moved away up north to Minnesota for a long summer, basically. Was for a job opportunity. And through that, I just started kind of figure out where I wanted to take my paintball career. I took a few years, maybe a year off. So I kind of was, didn't know if I wanted to get back into it or what I was going to do. Made the decision that I wanted to just go all in. I wasn't going to look to be a part of a team and earn it as much. I just wanted to see if I could go and make a tryout or, be a part of a team and earn my spot. So I started going to, I went to an AC Diesel tryout, went to the Columbus level tryouts, went to a few of those and had some success. I was able to be a part of those organizations. The level was a good one for sure. That one I stuck around with for a full season on their practice line. So I was able to go up there and be a part of all their practices. I was able to play during COVID, when we didn't have NXLs, they had the invitational events.
Yeah.
And the Asher event. I was able to play in all of those with level. And that was a great experience. That was my first time playing pro X-ball. Missed a couple opportunities with the level guys for sure. Just my schedule was conflicting and wasn't able to make a couple things, so it didn't work out for me. But came back, got a call from CJ Cantor, who's a friend of mine I met through the year, and he was putting together a new team, GG Sports Park. They were building a new park and a new semi-pro line, and he called me up there to play with them. Played one event with those guys last year or 2 years ago in semi-pro, and I was just getting burnt out. I was starting to die down. It was hard. The traveling, going from Ohio or going to St. Louis or trying to do all this traveling was just too much. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't sustain it. It was just too much. So met Josh, and I've known Josh forever, ever, but, linked back up with him, and he says, I'm going to start a field, I'm going to start a team, I'm going to do it all. And I was really hesitant. I was really like, oh, I've heard this story so many times. And I was like, I love the enthusiasm he has, but I was like, I've just heard the story so many times, man. You'd have to really do this, and this. And he did. And all the homeboys in Georgia, all the guys that I've grown up with playing at local parks like Paintball Atlanta or Nitro or any of the parks I just went to on the weekends, all those guys, we all got together finally and went to our first event, got second place. And ever since that, we were just like, maybe we have something here. Maybe this is, something special. And I really do think it is a lightning in a bottle kind of thing. I think getting to play with your friends, not just a team that you were put on or a team of guys that all tried out and want to be a part of the name or the brand or whatever it is, but just having your genuine friends you grew up with, pretty cool. Pretty big paintball fun again.
Yeah. Well, and, I told Josh this when I first saw that roster. I was like, you really got a who's who of Georgia paintball on that squad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Joey, Alex Hick, a lot of those guys, Wes Ward, a lot of those guys kind of took the lead on, calling everybody up. But it's like you already knew. It's like on those phone calls, you'd be like, did you call this person? Like, yeah, I already called that person. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, you got this guy in? Yeah, I already got that guy. We all knew who that team would have been made up of. There's a few that we would want. There's a couple guys that are Georgia grown that we keep them kind of on speed dial, and we're always bugging them. We're always, seeing if they're interested to join us. But yeah, we like the idea of it being Georgia guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a really cool thing. It's, I don't know if Georgia's really seen that since the Ultimates, maybe, right?
Yeah. I mean, Ultimate was the last pro organization. There's like Atlanta Ed did a year or something, and the Atlanta Predators were a team in 2006.
Yeah.
In the Smart Parts Championship, there's an Atlanta team. So a couple of pro presence, but not a lot of, I don't think there's been any victories in the pro division. Semi-pro division and the Division 2, like Team Extreme, I know they've done that. They won the Division 2 series. So we've kind of tied what Georgia Paintball has done at the moment. And then this year is where we're going to hopefully take the podium.
Nice. So what's the, there's a lot to unpack and everything there. So let's step back with the level guys and like, how was it being on the practice squad? Like, what did that entail for you, at least?
Yeah. Myself, Grant Speakman, who plays with Adrenaline, and I'm blanking on his name, but he's actually the Dorito player currently, and he went with Shock, the Beanie Bandit. Can't think of his name right now. But anyway, yeah, the three of us made this practice line. They picked up Colin Cherry and another gentleman, I'm going to forget his name right now, but the five of us got to stick around for the next season. The two of them had starting spots, and then the three of us were kind of fighting for being the next guy in line. There was a weekend I got that phone call that said, hey, come to the event. And I had a family trip planned with my wife. And it's a hard one, but I had to stick with the family. So yeah, I had to miss out on some opportunities for sure. But, the opportunity just to practice with those guys, to have their insight on little things that I was doing right, little things I was doing wrong. It was eye-opening. It was huge. It definitely was a growing moment for me getting to have that experience. Bobby Goldsmith, he was phenomenal. He was a really cool coach. Back in the day, I think he did a good job of running that team for sure.
And then you mentioned you got to do the invitational events, which were like kind of this cool little weird spot in paintball history, right? Like, how was it going to those, knowing they're being filmed? And it's a pro event, right? But there's like an asterisk next to it, unfortunately, because not all the guys are there. But in my mind, it's still a pro event. How is that? Like, it's different than an NXL, I would take it.
Yeah, I mean, it was at a few of the parks I've been to and practiced at, so kind of just looked at it like a big practice in my head. It was out at the Astros out in Dallas. Another one was up in Virginia. Yeah, I mean, I think the first one, there was probably like a little bit of nerves. I think it was more just excitement. Like, I definitely felt prepared for the moment, so I wasn't like nervous in that sense. It was just like, oh, this is finally happening. But I'll take what I can get. It's not an NXL, it's not the big show, but I'll take what I can get for sure. Getting the playtime and getting that exposure was big. Getting to meet the players, getting to network, that's always helpful. I think that's a big part of paintball. A lot of people talk about it in the pro division all the time, that it's a fraternity. If you don't know somebody, then you're probably not in. It's hard to just be so good skill wise and nobody knows who you are, that you just show up one day and everyone's just amazed and they decide to take you on. They've probably heard of you or probably seen you somewhere somehow, but yeah, networking is always a big thing.
Well, that's a great takeaway for like young kids coming up or divisional guys coming up. You need to network with people if you want to get opportunities.
Yep. I think, other than Grant, he said, yeah, one thing I always remember, he said, like you're, how people look at you and, I can't think of the word right now, but it's everything, right? Like your reputation, right? Mm-hmm. So there's going to be moments in paintball for sure. I think it's such a hard sport to play because we play with such adrenaline. We're all a bunch of guys with high adrenaline levels. I mean, you're going to get angry. You're going to get upset. But you have to remember it's a game. So, just be respectful, be honorable, be good to the teammates, the people you're around. If you leave a team, never leave on a bad note if you can, kind of thing. That always helps. But network is a big part of it.
So let's go through BR's run a little bit last year. So you mentioned it, second place right off the bat in Vegas. The next up is Texas.
Yeah. Vegas, and then now it's Texas, which was probably one of the top three and like my least favorite events played just because of the conditions, the rain and the mud we played in. I mean, I'd never played. I mean, the mud was a foot deep. It was horrible. It was crazy. But we did pretty well. We had a couple of, that tournament was really frustrating for us because it was the first time we really noticed that we made mistakes internally, that we know better. We beat ourselves, is what we say. We let a couple teams that we know we should have handled differently kind of dictate the pace of the game more, and that didn't play in our favor for sure. So Dallas didn't go our way. We ended up with a third, though. We did squeak by. I think we lost the games that put us off into third and fourth, and then we ended up bursting that third and fourth game. We always kind of turn it back on and refuse to go home without a medal.
Well, I was going to say, when I've lost the game to go for first and second, like I'm always really fired up. Like I don't want to go out on the loss.
Hard not to. I think our guys too, it's hard because like there's so much passion. Like you could see it and everyone was just heartbroken every event. And every event we went home, like we lost the tournament. Like it's like somebody stole our dog or something. It was just, everybody was just always so upset. And it would take a week or so. We get on a team call and start like reminding each other, like, hey, we podiumed. Like we've podiumed every event, just we're doing well. It's just the standard we have set for ourselves is just so much higher. We expected to win. And once we got tasted it, we knew that it was possible. There's something Mike Bianca told us in the pits, actually, at the first event in the finals, was you guys are this close. I mean, you tasted it. You know what it takes to get there. It's just a matter of delivering and us not, making those simple mistakes. But I think it all worked out the best way. We always said, too, if we'd won an event anywhere in between, I wonder if it would have taken the wind out of our sails a little bit. But being hungry for that win definitely brought us into World Cup. Our practices continuously elevated between every event. I mean, from us practicing teams like the Hurricanes, we've done New Orleans to practice the Hurricanes. We practiced leverage or the Hurricanes before every event on Wednesday. We'd always just try to put ourselves in the best spot to, which those were never fun moments, by the way. Leverage and the Hurricanes both were able to, they always make us feel like we didn't belong. And then, like Wednesday, for example, we'd play leverage. They beat us all day long. And we'd kind of be like, this worked in practice. I think it's going to work tomorrow, but we'll see. But yeah, it's good to see the difference, right? And going into the semi-pro year, we now know we're probably where we need to be as a team, but it's going to get more competitive. Now it's going to start being, some real competition.
So from there, you go to Atlantic City. How does Atlantic City go for you guys?
Atlantic City, that one, we got second. I know that one, went better than the next one. So on our heads, we're going the right direction. It was just still frustrating to not get that first. I think Atlantic City was the one where the pros were filming with ESPN. So we actually had our finals match over on the Premier Field. Can't remember who it was we lost to on that one, but that was definitely, I think, seconds. Again, it's almost worse. Like, it's just the closer you get, you don't get it. It just gets worse. So morally, we went home probably more defeated than we were all year, because second place in Vegas was a high, right? That was great. Third place started to feel like the wrong direction. Second place felt like okay, we've done this before, but like, why can't we get it done? Like, why can't we get over that hump? And then we knew was it Chicago? I think that was the next
Chicago
step. We knew in Chicago, had we played well enough, I don't think we did the math. I don't remember the math exactly, but if we played well enough with the champions bracket set up at Cup, we could secure the series in Chicago, I think, with a win. We knew that. And we ended up getting third. And I think we ended up losing to Wolfpack, who was one of the teams that was on our heels the whole year. So them getting closer in points made it so we actually had to win Cup. So that put the pressure on. Going into Cup, we know that we have to get second place or better to win the series. And we don't want to go home with another second and not win a single event all year. So in our heads, we have to win World Cup. Going into that event, leaving Chicago, the day we left Chicago on our flights, we all knew we had to win World Cup. And practice started like the next weekend. We got Mikey McGowan on the squad. We have his field out in Prime. He's got a great facility that gives us the opportunity to everybody go out to the field and sleep and stay on the premise there. And it's just wake up, paintball, go to sleep, wake up, paintball, go to sleep. Get some good practices in for sure. And I think we were prepared, and it showed. I think come World Cup, we were a little bit different of a team. We were a little bit stronger for sure. We noticed it internally. The things that we were working on all year, self included, I know I had things I had to work on that the team thankfully credited me to, figuring out. But I owe that to them for sure, for showing me the things I need to continuously work on. So one of my favorite stories I'll tell, knowing this, right, the pressure of first and second. We're playing in the top 4. We're playing against New York Brave, and it's a tie game. And it gets down to about 36 seconds, I want to say, 30-something seconds. And one of our players, I won't say his name, but one of our players decided to make a move and ends up getting a penalty. And it's a major, so it's a swing point, goes to them, and we start down a body. So we actually now are thinking we're in X ball. So in the 2 minutes that we have, it hasn't been said, but every person is thinking, if we lose this, there's 26 seconds, we have to play 4 and 5. If we lose this, we lose our series, we lose the event, we just have to start over. It's all over.
It's a lot of pressure for 20 seconds.
Yeah, that was a nerve-wracking point. But again, I think, like I mentioned, that mindset of winning is just staying calm, not letting that pressure get you at all. Just don't even think about that right now, and just come up with a game plan. I remember getting on the box with Ronnie, I think it was Cody, Mike McGowan, Ronnie, and myself. And Ronnie and I said, I asked him actually, I said, what stops you the most from running down this field? And he said, that guy. I said, okay, I'm going to go get that guy. You just go. And it all just worked. Everything just worked. And all 4 of us were at the other end of the field. I think they got a penalty with like 4 seconds left. So it stopped the clock and gave us the swing. We go into overtime. We ended up winning overtime. And then went on to win the event. But it got hairy.
So you guys win World Cup. You win the series, right? How soon do you guys get back out at it?
There was guys at the field the next weekend still. I think it's the mindset is kind of carried on. I think really leading up to Cup was we have to win. We have to improve. Now it's just, now we have to get ready for D1. So we have to improve. We just keep going. So yeah, we definitely don't take this year lightly. In our eyes, some of our guys kind of get offended. We hear like the semi-pro league gets watered down compared to what it used to be, and you don't have as many of the big hitter teams. I think we have a lot of respect for the teams that are there currently. So in our eyes, we're not nervous, but we're definitely preparing and getting ready. Last weekend, we had our first official practice with the whole team together, but every weekend between now and then, it's been half the team here, half the team there, people doing drills, people just doing things on their own. We got guys in the chat that are, working out every day, sharing their workouts, just trying to motivate people. One of our guys goes for a 2-mile run every day, tracks it, shares his time and everything else, and then makes a little video at the end, just yelling at us, telling us that we're all worthless and we need to get off our butt. Yeah, no, it's great. We keep each other pretty fired up right now.
Awesome. So you mentioned team calls. I think a lot of the lower divisional guys don't know like how team calls go or should go. Could you kind of go into that for us a little bit?
Yeah. I think there's a good evolution to the calls and the codes and things. Myself, I'm coaching a Division 4 team this year, and I did some coaching last year as well in Division 5, Division 4, but one thing I've kind of tried with my lower division guys is just kind of throwing the whole book at them. I've shown them our team's call list, and it's 2 pages long, and a lot of them were like, holy hell, why do we need all this? And it doesn't make sense. And I said, I know it doesn't now, and that's fine, but I just kind of want to get you thinking, why are these necessary? And if one of them doesn't make sense, let's talk about it. Like, let me know that. I've been able to kind of see the kind of the mind, I guess, of the beginner player again on the way they see the game, and that helps me in a way. It's cool to just break it down for them and show them, the way I break down the game, the reason I think this way, why these zone calls are important instead of yelling out, I'm shooting at this guy. Through experience, you'll always come to find out there's going to be a moment where you say something and the other team heard you. And sometimes them hearing you puts you in a bad spot. Having those codes in place is crucial. It's also efficiency, right? I think the less you say, the more. If you had the ability to just spit out 2 or 3 codes, Ricky 2, Ice, Florida, something like that. But in that whole sentence, like I told you, I've cleared out this whole side of the field. I'm now holding this zone. We own all of this real estate. I'm going to make sure that nobody moves any farther from this spot to this spot. Anybody over here can now move. Anyone over here should now be looking for guns to shift off of you. There's so much that's understood from that one call. And it's something that we constantly are evolving and changing. So each tournament, we have a call list, but sometimes certain calls change. Like we might just say, hey, we don't really use that one here. So now when we say blah, 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 it means this for this instance, or it means this for that moment. Yeah, I think it's just something to keep things efficient and keep the airways clear. Very important.
How do you think coaching lower divisional teams has it helped you become a better player?
I mean, I think anything you do to study the game. So when I'm playing at Division 1, I'm a player, right? I'm fortunate enough to have guys like Joey step up to make some play calls for us. We have Freeman in the pits, Josh Milligan as well, always, analyzing. I can tell you, like at World Cup, Josh Milligan had stats on every breakout the other team did to a percentage of how likely they were to go here, blah, blah, blah. We'd look at Joey and he'd tell us to play. I'd look at Josh and tell him what's the likelihood of this happening. He would tell me, and I would just go out and just trust that stat. Where coaching, I got to kind of put all those pieces down. I got to actually go out and do the scouting, do the, the research part. So it's things that I don't typically do at D1. I now have more time to focus on the game and study the game more. I mean, I think it helped.
Nice. What about team meetings? Like, could you break those down for us a little bit?
Yeah. We typically do a team meeting after it's the Division 1 team. We'll typically do one after each practice, really, after each event, after each team gathering, just to kind of recap, what didn't. Freeman will take notes. Jonathan Freeman's basically our pit manager, coordinator, helps us out a lot. He'll take notes on everybody and he'll kind of run through it. He's like, yo, you did great on this. Let's work on this next one. You did great on this. Let's work on this the next one. We go through those things. We go through our team just budget as well. At this division, budgeting is a huge, huge thing. Making sure we have the money for everything and no one's going to be struggling halfway through the year. We've all done this long enough now that we kind of have that figured out, knowing, everyone has this amount of money for tournaments all year. Everyone has this much for travel, for the hotels, or whatever it is, the Airbnbs. And then, luckily this year we got some help with those things. So we're, just planning all of that as well. We go through those a lot. Yeah.
So, all right. So you mentioned some people are saying the semi-pro is watered down this year. I don't think that. I think they got really good competitive teams still. I feel like people have kind of been saying that ever since Fit and Blast Camp left. But there, you guys got you coming in who, by all standards, had a great season, right? And then you still got Wrecking Crew in there. You got, I guess the Sea Dogs left, right? They bought Blast Camp's spot. But like, you still got a lot of really good teams in there. Have you guys kind of talked about goals for the season?
Yeah. I think our first goal is always just win a point. Like, first goal is small, and then it just evolves and grows from there. So win a point, win a match, win an event. If we can go, and I think this year our big goal will be win an event. I see that as a obtainable, but also like a reasonable goal. We've joked about it, of course, like, what if something happened, we win our first year and we go pro right away. I don't know that, like, we've talked about it. I don't know that we'd necessarily want that. I think we respect the guys on our team, kind of just respect the process enough that there's a lot to be learned in the semi-pro division. There's a lot of growth that needs to happen in that division. That's something I definitely figured out. Like I said, when I was just trying to do a tryout for teams, I think the big thing for me was that my APPA said D3, but on the field, I could every now and then have a good point. But there were still some things I was doing that were reflective of that D3 status for sure. And playing a couple years of semi-pro and playing D2 even, I've worked those things out. I've seen it myself. I didn't believe it was there, but through my coaches and my teammates, they've helped me kind of see those things and work it out. It's just important. You got to go through the steps. You can't skip any steps in this game. But yeah, I think we're just going to win an event, and we definitely do respect some of those teams, though.
But it sounds like the team is like definitely going to win, wants to win an event, going to work towards it. It's a goal, but also at the same time, they are fine with developing for a year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we don't expect to just come in and win the whole series kind of thing. We know that there's still some teams here that have been here and deserve to be there. There'll be some teams that'll be easier. I've played semi-pro, and a few of the guys on my team have played semi-pro before. A couple of guys have played in the pro division before. There will be some games that are easier than others, but we're going to have those Sunday matches, and it's going to be some of the harder paintball we've gotten to play yet. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. Outside of winning World Cup, what's one of your favorite paintball memories? At any point.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest tournament wins that I have is the ICC. I think that one meant the most to me. Tim Montrusser, one of my biggest idols of all time. What he did for paintball, bringing the whole 10-man thing back. That was the first time I ever got to call myself a pro paintball player. It was when I made a pro 10-man team. And I respect that and I appreciate that. I respect him for creating that pathway for me and other players. So that ICC tournament that he made and all of his good friends have helped maintain, and then now today the field owner maintains. I think that's one of the coolest events. I think it's one of the hardest events to win. One of the guys on my team did numbers, and statistically only 1% of paintball players have won that tournament. So that's
kind of nuts.
Yeah. Of 10-man guys, like of the guys that have entered in, he did the numbers on how many teams each year, average of 10 to 15 guys a team or something like that. And then how many people won it out of that, whatever he did, I don't know. But yeah, that one meant a lot to me. That one was really cool. And to do it with the Sabre Wolves, that was even better. I had a lot of opportunities in the years leading up to that to play with other teams, like the All-Americans, Aftershock, teams I play with here and there and guest with. But always stuck with the family. And to get it done finally was huge. Very, very cool moment. It's between that or going overseas to London. We got to go, the 10-man team also went over to London and played a tournament and won over there. Winning overseas is epic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can only imagine that would be a little extra special, right?
Yeah, a lot of pressure. You're like, you got to make this trip worth it, right? We come all the way over here to lose. It's going to be horrible. But to come home with the trophy and necklace, medals, and things like that in the plane, you're just like, so worth it. It's so cool.
So does the wife go on some of the trips with you, or?
Yeah, she does. Especially that one. That one, she definitely.
You gotta go on the overseas trip.
That one, we were blessed. The owner of the team helped out the players a lot to getting there, so we all brought our wives with us and went for an extra week.
Nice.
Spent a whole week there together as a team, and then on the weekend before we left, went a little bit up north and played in the tournament and won it and came home. But yeah, she loves it. We this year I hope she'll get to come to all the NXLs this year. She's a hairstylist and she's top tier at what she does, so she's very busy. So it's hard for her always to clear her schedule. But this year I think she's going to be able to make most of the NXL events, so she'll be there.
Oh, it's always cool when you see the couples there.
But yeah, this past World Cup, we had her whole family had a trip planned to Disney World, and I told them I was going to be down there during World Cup, and they moved the dates to be there at the same time, so they were only a mile down the road. And on Sunday, they came over and watched one match before they went home. And I had my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, my in-laws, my nephew, the whole family was there. And it was actually that match I told you about against Brave.
Okay.
Nail-biting match that that was the one match they came to watch. And having them there when I came off that field, I actually just started breaking down for some reason. Like I was just so emotional that we won. And then seeing my whole family there, sharing that with them was super cool.
How is it transitioning, like as you're going through these tournaments from the Division II fields to the Premier field to the Pro field? How does that have any effect? Is it something to get used to?
For me, it's definitely something to get used to. I mean, NXL events, and I'll say this for younger viewers or newer players, I used to get nervous as hell at NXL events. Like I just couldn't do the national level. It's just such a big stage. There's so much noise. I felt like I just always got tunnel vision when I played, and I feel like just that takes getting used to, right? And then when you do start having success, that's a very common trend. Like come Sunday, you're bouncing field to field, and I think that just kind of adds on to the winning mentality, is understanding that that's going to happen. The environment's going to change. Shots are going to change. The reffing changes. That's a big part of it. Understanding all those variables and then just letting them play out, but understanding them that they're there. It's very important. It's definitely stuff we practice. So like in a practice, if there's a shot at practice that's tight, then we give it the courtesy, like, yes, I shot that guy every time I practice, but that shot may not be there at the event, or at least on one of two of the fields we're going to play on. So there's certain things that we're just always kind of aware of that's going to happen.
Yeah. And so you guys are going down and practicing before the event that Wednesday or Thursday, I guess, depending on the event.
Yeah, we'll always go ahead and get the practice slot the day before. And I've been on teams before that looked at that very differently. This team is very adamant about any opportunity we have to play paintball, we're playing paintball. Like at World Cup this last year, we played on Wednesday in a practice slot. I think we had 2 practice slots with Leverage and one with the Hurricanes. And then on Saturday, we had the day off because we were in the champions bracket. And we went over to, I think it's PBT or wherever Damage those guys practice at down in Florida.
Legacy.
We went over there and practiced at a private Legacy. Yeah. Legacy. Our lower division team and ourselves, 2 of us went over and had a private practice together and just shot lanes for a few hours, just to keep the guns fresh. But yeah, any opportunity we have to shoot guns, we're taking it.
Nice. Yeah. I talked to Avid Factory actually last night, B-Pate from them, and we talked about having that day off. And that's something relatively new in paintball, right? For World Cup is having that champion bracket.
That's the first.
I think it was smart of you guys to play. Yeah, but it's smart
I'll
to
be honest
stay
and say
kind
I
of
didn't
moving.
vote to play, but we did. Wasn't my vote, but I got over.
Could have got to Disney World, right?
Top Golf. Yeah, Disney World. I was trying to go to Top Golf, get the guys out, do something. I was like, let's just go bond and do stuff, but I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to do anything. I actually did end up. I stepped weird and tightened my back. That whole night I was like paranoid. I was like, oh no, how's this going to feel tomorrow? Lidocaine patches, and all night I was just laying still, and my wife just keep rubbing my back and got my massage gun, and I was like, oh no. Woke up Sunday. I remember like waking up, and I was nervous to like get out of bed to see if it was going to hurt. I felt fine. I was like, okay, we're good. Let's go.
Yeah, I can see that being nerve-wracking. You're coming into arguably one of the biggest days of paintball for you, and the back's feeling
I want
weird.
to be 100%, but I'm getting older. It's not as easy.
Yeah, it only gets rougher.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more recovery time needed. Doesn't stop you from throwing your body around, but you just feel it more after the fact.
It's almost, it's like if I could go play while I'm playing, I'm good. It's like as soon as that adrenaline stops, though, then it starts like, oh yeah, this hurts. Oh yeah, that's right.
So, what gun are you using for the Mech event? You got a favorite?
Just got a, I have a All American's Lux Idol. So
Nice.
My new Mech shooters. Pretty excited.
No whip.
I'm all about speed in the Mech events. Always trying to get a thing as fast as I can go. This is, I think, the fastest Mech gun that I've ever shot. Insane. I'm nervous because I used some really old paint last weekend at practice. It was like 30 degrees and, high speed, it was like 30 degrees. It was not the right conditions and I didn't have the right bore for my paint. I didn't have anything right. I'm like, I'm going to try it. and it just spray paint, spray paint, spray paint. I was like, no, I can't. So I haven't gotten to use it yet, but I'm excited this week. I got my insert kit. I got everything ready now, so it'll work. But I gotta get a hopper that can keep up with it. That's the biggest thing. Need a rotor pumping.
Yeah, definitely for the Mech events. Gonna grab the rotor. Well, the wife's home. You got date night, man. I appreciate you hopping on. Why don't you shout out the sponsors, and then we'll stop the recording, and it's just got to upload for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mostly shout out to Bear Ridge, Josh and everything he does for us in 1023 clothing. They're going to be taking care of us head to toe and all of our gear. And I know we have a few of the guys in the team. Wes is big help in helping getting the guys where we go with his dog spa. He's got Wes's dog spa, I believe it is, Wes Ward. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty self-funded this year, so it's something that we're going to just take on. We got, it's going to be through, can't think of his name at the moment. Yeah, I think we're going to be using a lot of, it's actually, I think we have an opportunity to use a little bit of everything this year. So
okay. Nice.
A new program. That's why I can't think of the name of who it is that's running it right now. But yeah, we're really going to be self-funded this year. So just going to be us. So thanks to us.
There you go. Thanks to the boys. All right. Just hang on. I'm going to stop the recording.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Shout out to 1023 Sportswear for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to use code Planet Paintball at checkout for 20% off your order. Gear up, save big. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball Podcast